Good evening and welcome, everybody. Today is January 16th, 2024, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Phil Centonze, Program Chair for Section 1510. 1515 is now been merged into 1510, so it's great to have everybody join. I am the speaker tonight, if you didn't already know that, and I've been involved with organizations across all sectors of the economy for a long time. I've been focusing a lot on manufacturing, but I've been working with organizations, like I say, across all sectors of the economy. I've been involved with the Florida Sterling Council again for a long time, since 1994, as a volunteer. I've been a master examiner, just about any part of Sterling that you can think of. I've been a part. Currently, I'm the lead judge for the Governor Sterling Award and for the Georgia Oglethorpe Award that's presented. So the Sterling Council is a regional organization now, and it covers Florida and Georgia both. Let's go ahead and talk about teams. And tonight, that's, as you know, I will be discussing team effectiveness and talking about some approaches to building an effective team and to continuously building an effective team, in fact. As far as the objectives tonight, what I want to get across to you and talk about the 10 characteristics of successful teams and the effects of behavioral types on teamwork. I enjoy talking about teams and teamwork and all the various facets. Unfortunately, we don't have all day and all night to talk about them, so I'm going to focus on these two areas for this evening. But there's a whole lot more. I'm sure you're all aware. There are tons of books out there about teams and all that, and the psychology behind teamwork and all those other things. We're not going to get into that. We're going to stick to application, things that you can actually use and do with your own teams as we go forward. Nowadays, really, teams are such, and teamwork is such an important aspect of not just our work life, but also our home life and our work in the communities in the volunteer capacity or in other ways. Organizations want teams to help meet goals, and there are a lot of benefits, and we'll talk about some of those things here as we go forward through the presentation. But the collaboration is crucial in any event, and in the end, when you look at teams and you think about teamwork, good teams that have good behavior, so to speak, and those 10 characteristics I'll talk about as part of that, but they are much more effective than the average individual. You could have a single person out there who may have a great idea, and it may work, but you're taking chances if you're depending on just a single person. When you've got a team, the basic element of a team that really makes it effective, I think, is that varied perspectives. Multiple kinds of skills, multiple kinds of perspective, multiple opinions and ideas that come from the team members. That really is what contributes to the effectiveness. One of the things that really contributes to the effectiveness of teams. Teams go by many names, right? And you can see in this cloud diagram here, there's a ton of them. If you haven't found the word team yet, it's way up there, little tiny word up in the right top, and it's in yellow, so it's hard to read. But teams come in a lot of different, they go by a lot of different names. But what's really important is that when you think of team, you're thinking of a group of interdependent people who are really geared towards achieving specific tasks, specific goals, and have specific objectives. It's sometimes when you think about the characteristics of a team, it's hard to think if it's sort of a chicken and an egg situation where, well, do we bring the team together because we want that in the team, or does the team also enhance and grow, that element, that factor of effectiveness? Teams are definitely in demand, really, around. I'm sure you've seen it, and you probably see it in your own organizations that they're very very important to the work that we do. So why do we work as a team? Again, that diverse set of skills that the team brings together is one of the reasons. That collaboration that we want to see. If there's no collaboration within the team will not be as effective as it could be. But when we talk about collaboration as well, we're not talking about strictly collaboration within the team. we're talking about collaboration between teams. So in your organization, whatever it is, you probably have multiple teams, and if each team was out for itself, it doesn't necessarily improve or benefit the company overall. And so there's got to be that the collaboration, not only within the team, between team members, but also the collaboration between teams within our organizations, because we're there for the organization, not just for the team. The increased productivity is part of the reason for working as a team. That's what we're looking for, is that increased productivity, improved decision making, improved problem solving, and improved process changing. All those things come from the teamwork that we do. Adaptability and resilience. Resilience has really grown. The word resilience has really grown in popularity over the past probably 5 to 10 years or so. That's one of the aspects of a team that makes it valuable to the organization. Effective communication, again, is very important within the team and between teams, as I was just noted a couple of minutes ago. Increased motivation and satisfaction among the team members is important. And enhanced learning and development. Again, enhanced learning and development comes from working as a team, but also your team should, have some plans to enhance their own skills and enhance the development of individuals within the team to make the team more effective and better at what the team has been created for. So why do teams fail? What I'd like you to do is give me your ideas. One of the ways I'd like you to do that, if you've never used Annotate in Zoom, I'll show you how to do that right now. If you go to the control bar, where it has the video and the audio, and it may not show up on the control bar directly. It may have the three dots, the ellipsis, but up there you'll find it looks like a pencil icon, and it says Annotate. If you click on that, Annotate, another control bar will come up, the editing bar. Throw up some ideas there as why you think teams fail when they do. Apathy, yeah. Poor communication, absolutely. I can't read that yellow or the red. If anybody can read it, let me know. Teams work, of course. Poor communication, no shared goals, overcommitment. Is that overcommitment? Yeah, overcommitment to other projects, apathy, no time, unequal contributions, big interaction gap. Yeah. Some kind of poor leadership, I guess that says. Right, confused responsibilities. Okay, I see lack of motivation. Well, I see no lack of reasons either for why teams fail, right? I mean, you've seen that in real life. Think about a team that you've been on or you've have experience with, whether it's at work or it may have been a sports team or whatever. Just think about the ones that didn't work, the ones that you did not enjoy, especially. What were some of the causes for that? Why did you not enjoy working on that team? Why did you not, even if it was a sports team, maybe you're a coach or a player, what was it about that team that caused it to fail? What is it that made you feel like it wasn't a very successful venture? And I know I've been on some teams that I never want to have that kind of experience again. I really look for the teams where there is all that collaboration and all the opposites of what you wrote about on the screen just now, that you annotated. The 10 characteristics of successful teams. Here are 10 that I use these for quite a number of years. I've done a lot of working with teams, facilitating teams, working with the individual team members to help them improve effectiveness. And these are what I think are probably the key characteristics. And there may be others. In fact, I'm sure there are others. I didn't come up with an all-inclusive list here, but these are very, very important. If I were to ask you which one of these you think is most important, I'm sure that somebody will mention every one of those at one point in the discussion, because they all do contribute very much to team effectiveness and team success. When you look at these, are there any that make you think about, what does that really mean? Like for instance, number 6, focus on team process. What does that mean to you? When we say a characteristic of successful teams is a team that focuses on the team process, what does that mean? Diego, did you want to say something?
Yes, I think when we focus on team process, we focus on team formation, because every team is going through many stages. I think 4 or 5. Forming, storming. There is a a process in the forming a team. You can have 5, 6 persons, but you not necessarily is a team. You have is necessarily going to a process, knowing each other, no criticism, all that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Teams have ground rules. A team should have ground rules, right? What are they really? Ground rules are the behaviors, that the team expects of itself and from its members, its individual members. So focusing on the team process means, understanding what our ground rules are. What type of behavior are we expected to display in this team? But it also goes to, making decisions. When we make a decision, are we going to do it by majority vote? Are we going to do it by 100% consensus, or is there some other way? We're going to pick solutions out of a hat. We've got to figure out what that process is before we get into the issue, because I've seen teams that are dealing with an issue that might be controversial or very difficult for the team, and if the team waits until the point where or the deadline is here, we've got to make a decision. Let's just do a majority vote. Well, if you're in a majority, you're going to like that. If you're not in the majority, you're not going to be really happy about that kind of decision. But if we did that at the front end, we said, look, we've got an hour to talk about this. We've got to come up with a decision. If we can't come to consensus, 100% consensus within that hour, at the end of the hour, we're just going to do a majority vote. And so what that process is up front. It's very important to know that, because that contributes to the effectiveness of the team later. In the next time you've got to look at a decision, how's the team going to react to that? So focusing on team process is very important. Understand how you're going to go about the work that you will do in order to come to some decision or to create some process change or some other kind of improvement or whatever the issue might be that the team is assigned in order to do. How about common purpose and clear direction? What's the difference between those two? Well, for common purpose, we're looking at a common goal, right? Understanding, when the whole team understands what the goal is in the end. What are we trying to achieve? Where do we have to get? Where do we have to be when we're through with that issue? The clear direction, however, is sort of related to focus on team process in a way. It's how are we going to get there? How are we going to get to that point? We may lay out, we may use a DMAIC format or, PDCA or one of the other similar type of process improvement tools that are out there, or, whatever it is. We've got to understand, where we have to be and how are we going to get there. And if the team understands that contributes again to the effectiveness. Well-defined roles, they don't necessarily have to be formal roles. When a team discusses a topic, for each topic they discuss, there may be a different leader, for instance, a different discussion leader on each. It may be the person who is the subject matter expert in that particular area that leads. It's informal, but that person might lead the discussion on a particular topic, and another person would lead the discussion on a different topic, for example. When we talk about accountability, there's accountability, the individual to the team, but there's also the accountability, of course, for the team to the organization. That's what the team was created for, is to resolve some issue, to create some improvement or whatever. The team needs to be accountable for that. Cooperative relationships doesn't mean that you have to have a best friend on the team. If you do, that's great. But the cooperative relationship is that the collaboration, between individual people on the team. Focus on team process. We talk about trusted support. I mean, is there anything that we really have to say about that? If there's no trust within a team, has anybody ever been on a team where you aren't really sure if that other person was going to pull their weight or even express their true opinions and ideas about what's going on? If you've been in a situation like that, it wasn't really comfortable and you didn't feel like you were doing the best that you could as a team. Proactive leadership, as I said, the leadership can for discussions, for instance, can shift from topic to topic within a team. But overall, the antidote to a lot of failures of teams is good leadership. Somebody wrote in that previous screen, poor leadership, and that's absolutely true. and not only leadership of the team, but also leadership of the organization that governs that team and other teams. If there's no commitment on the leadership end to be successful with the team will not be as effective as it could be. A win-win attitude, the win-win attitude is that it's not necessarily always compromise. We can, on both sides, we can win. Both sides can win, can get what they're looking for. It doesn't mean that there's that one has to give in order for the other to win, or vice versa. We're looking for that, not my way, not your way. We're looking for that other way, that third way, that win-win for how to, accomplish what we're working on. And then open communications, again, that's a no-brainer, right? I mean, I saw a comment about that as well on that page a few pages back, the annotation. Open communications is, it's crucial. You may have all the great ideas for the team, and if you don't open your mouth and say something about it, the team's not going to know. The team won't be effective. That's a very simple example. But that open communications is very important in all directions, not just up and down the chain, between you and the team leader, but it's within the network of the team. The team is a network of individuals. It's guided by the leader in some ways, but the leader is typically, or in a really effective team, the leader is almost relegated to as a liaison with the outside world, outside of the team. And and the team can be self-directed. I once, a job I had back about 30 years ago, it was a film processing organization. You probably never heard of, well, some of you may have never heard of film, but we used to take film. Remember those little rolls of film that came to remember Eckerd's, or the CVS? It would go into the black box at Eckerd's, and the next day you would have photographs. We were the company. We were that black box. We created self-directed teams within our organization. So there was a leader of we called the supervisor of that department, but the department itself was very self-regulated. In fact, when I came into this organization, somebody told me, they said, oh, I'm talking about the quality. It was the quality assurance group, and somebody on the side told me, said, that guy, Glenn, he's the worst employee we have in this whole department. And I said, okay, well, thanks for letting me know that. And so anyway, we went to self-directed teams, and before long, I was hearing from people that, that guy Glenn, he's like the best person we have on this team. Just that ability to be part of a team, to have all the, in a team that had many of these characteristics that you see up on the screen. It was just such a great opening for this person who shined. I mean, it was unbelievable the kinds of things that this person had done, and how much that the whole team had improved in what it was able to do, and how it was able to meet the customer requirements. But those characteristics are important. All of them are important. There's not one that's more important than the rest. You really got to have all of that. And these 10 characteristics can be used as a very informal assessment of the team's behavior, and more of the team's effectiveness. What I've done with this list of 10 is occasionally I will, with the team I may be facilitating, or a team that I lead, we'll go through and we'll talk about what each of these things mean, and say, how would you rate us? And we would ask the whole team, when the team is fairly effective, they trust each other enough that they can do that, out loud, so to speak. They can give their concerns, talk about the concerns. They're being openly communicative. They can talk about their ideas of things that they don't like, things that they like. They'll talk about that in front of the rest of the team, when the team has that sort of trust and support, within each other. A newer team might not have that. So what you might want to do, what I did with a newer team was, they all had Post-its, and I said, okay, just rank them from 1 to 5, or give me a score from 1 to 5 for each of these. Common purpose. How well do we have a common purpose? And they would do that. So everybody would have their numbers. We'd take a look at that, and we would use that information then to say, okay, we're a little weak on trust and support. I see some lower numbers. Everybody's scoring that a little bit lower than the rest. What could we do? And I would talk with the team and say, what can we do to help improve trust and support within our team? And they would talk about that. They would, we'd make a list of plus deltas, things that we could change in the team. and we would, and that would help the team grow and develop and become more and more effective as time went on, for that team. That was a team that, was a permanent team. It wasn't like a task force, or emergency process improvement or something like that. It was more of of an ongoing team. But the same kind of an assessment can be done for short-term teams as well. But anyway, that's just one of the ways that I've used this list. But we're going to talk about the behavioral types now and how that fits into teamwork. So what I'd like you to do is get into the annotation again, and you just start putting some comments up there about why you think, understanding behavioral types, personality types, why is that important for teamwork? And for understanding each other, absolutely. Better understand how to work well, how to collaborate, respect, compatibility, maybe. Yeah, compromise to accomplish goals efficiently, greatly affects the team dynamics. Absolutely. All those things are extremely important. No critics. What do you mean by that? No critics.
Especially when we need to consider others' ideas. It's very important. We don't have stupid ideas, because many times we can construct in base of other ideas. So therefore it's very important, because usually in any teamwork, you have different perspectives. So
yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. And actually, that's one of with the behavioral types. One of the things that I found, and I've done this with new teams that I put together, and they were not permanent teams. These were short-term teams, but short-term is relative. These teams were going to be in place for about a year and a half. And so what we did before we put the teams together, I shouldn't say that. We knew who was going to be on the team. So in that case, we used something closer to the Myers-Briggs personality type, but they all give you the same kind of information that you're looking for. And what we found was that when the teams knew their behavioral type and they knew their teammates' behavioral type, conflict was not person to person anymore. It was idea to idea. It wasn't on a personal level, the conflict or the disagreements. It was on the idea level, and it made they were more willing to disagree and to talk with their teammates about their ideas that were different, just because of that impact, that effect that knowing behavioral types would do for the individual and for the team. So I'm going to show you a screen here coming up in a second here. It's just a bunch of random numbers, okay? And what I want you to do is, on a piece of scrap paper or something, when you look at the numbers, find number 1, write it down. 2, when you see that number that you're looking for, write it down. They go from 1 to 54, I believe it is. Just go ahead and when I throw it up there, just try to find the number. Can somebody keep time for me? Just tell me how long. As soon as I put the screen up, just count the seconds if you could. Anybody have a timer that can help me out?
I can help out, Phil. How long are we timing for?
Just do seconds. I'll tell you when to stop. As soon as I click on this link here, the numbers are going to come up. I just want to cut it off maybe around. Well, we'll see how it goes. All right. Here's a set of numbers. Remember, go look in sequence. Okay, stop the timer and the numbers. Okay, how much time was that? About 15, 20 seconds?
27 seconds.
27. Okay, so who got the highest? Well, who got to the highest number? Who got to 10? Did everybody get to 10? Okay, somebody did. Anybody get to 15? No? I guess that means nobody got to 20 or more, right? So 27 seconds. Way to go, Steve. 27 seconds. We got to 10 at least. And the reason I'm showing this is now I'm gonna do something to the screen. I'm gonna show you a way. I said these were random numbers. They're not actually random, but we can't tell that just by looking at the screen as it is. So there's a template that I'm going to put over this right now, and what this shows is that you're going to find 1 up in that rectangle, 2 here, 3 here, and so on to 9. Then it starts again, 10, 11, 12. All the way down till you get to 54 back in this little area of the chart. So now knowing that, Kara, you ready to retime it, please? Now knowing that, I'd like you to look at the random numbers, not really random, and see if you can see how high we can go at this point, okay? And Kara, let's stop it at 20 seconds this time, all right? All right, ready? Let's go to the numbers. All right, do the same thing. Find the numbers in sequence.
20 seconds.
Okay, stop. Who got the 10? Was it pretty easy to get the 10? How about 15? 20? Okay, so you can see we're still going higher than 20. And how high did you get, Steve?
We have a 32 by Bob. Oh, 35.
Oh, I see it on the, okay,
Liliana.
nice check in the chat. I didn't look at the chat. Yeah, very good. Okay. So you can see the
38.
difference that made just by putting some kind of a template over the top. So it can help us. We couldn't actually predict exactly where the number was going to be, but we could have a pretty good idea of where the number was going to be. And that's what the behavioral types do for us as human beings. You cannot classify somebody, as, oh, you fit into that box. But you can categorize in a way that, what the likely type of behavior will be by using an instrument like the behavioral type that I'm going to show you here in a second. It's a matter of not predicting how people are going to react and how they're going to, because in the end, there are a lot more reasons for how people act than what we have in any one of these single instruments. But it does help us, especially when we're looking at teams and trying to make teams work better. If we know that the basic kinds of behavior that we will see within our teammates. So most teams at work, you're not able to create from scratch, just picking the people that you want. You may do that in some instances, but most of the time you're just going to, people who work in that department are going to be part of that team on the long term, and knowing their behavioral types can help us in a lot of the ways that you've already identified in that previous annotations. But it can help us in these areas, how we take in information, understands how our teammates take in information, how we communicate, what's our style, how do we approach work, are we very detail oriented or not, what's our decision-making style? Do we take a long time, or are we, impulsive in the way that we make decisions? And so, understanding the behavioral type can help us to manage and more lead than manage our team, and for each individual to be able to lead and to manage within the team in the way that they work with the teammates that that they're stuck with, so to speak. You're stuck with that team in your department, but you want to be able to be effective in what you do. Nobody comes to work and says, I'm just going to screw up today. You want to be effective in what you do. So this is a behavioral type assessment. You can see these numbered pairs. So there are 18 pairs of statements. And the way this thing works is that you would go through and read both statements and then select, in this case, O or S. Which statement is more like you? Okay, which is closer. None of these are going to be perfect, or there may be a couple of perfect ones, but most of them are not going to be perfect and perfectly match you. But they'll give you, it gives you a choice. You've got to choose between one or the other, and it can help direct, what type that you are. So I'm going to leave this on the screen. Can everybody read what's there? We'll take a few minutes, just read these and indicate to yourself, is that and keep track of how many O's, how many S's, how many I's, and how many D's that you're selecting. Okay, so go ahead, take a few minutes to do that. You can complete it on your own later. Okay, you probably got a good sample of what you read here. So the way that this tool is used, it organizes your responses so that it'll put you into one of these quadrants. All right, you've got the vertical axis is open, self-contained. The horizontal is indirect, direct, and then the different quadrants you can see: amiable, expressive, driving, analytical. The way that Well, one thing, kind of a warning about these things, you know, any one of these instruments that you use, whether it's Myers-Briggs or DISC or, you know, this little simple thing or the Keirsey temperament score, there's a bunch of them out there. No matter which one you use, you know, you've got to be cautioned that you should not rely on any one of them as being 100% accurate for you. You know, the real accuracy for any of these types of instruments comes from not only the instrument input, but also what it is that you think about yourself, also what it is that your family and your friends think about you. You know, with all of that, all of those perspectives on your type, your personality type, you know, how you communicate, and so on, is you know, that those multiple perspectives from people around you, you know, from your coworkers and all that, is really what gives you a realistic view of what your type is, and you know, where you fit in. So that's just kind of a caution in using this tool or any of these tools that that are out there. But the way that it's scored is you're going to total up the number of O's and S's and D's and I's. And in this sample, you can see the D's and I's were 7 D's, 2 I's. And so what you do is you take the number of D's and you subtract the I's. So 7 D's takes you out here, subtract 2 I's takes you back to, and that's where this vertical line comes in. Okay, it's on this axis, the ID axis, and there's a vertical line. And you do the same thing with the O's and the S's. You look at the O's, in this case it's 3, and the S's are 6. So 3 minus 6 takes you to a -3 right here. And you draw a horizontal line through that. And where the two lines intersect, puts you into one of these quadrants, and that's your type based on this particular instrument. It's very simple to use, obviously. You know, so it puts you into this quadrant. You know, the closer you are to the center of the intersection here, the more likely it is that you know, you will display other kinds of behavior. You know, some expressive, you may have a little amiability in there, you may have some analytical. The further away you are from that center intersection, the more, you know, strongly driving, in this case, you would be, or strongly expressive or amiable or analytical and so on. But it gives you that, you know, that look of you know, gives you an idea of where you are. So for teamwork, you know, you would look at this, and if we had a mix of people, chances are that would give us a pretty good composition to our team, so that we will come up with good ideas, good solutions in the things that we work on. I've got it's kind of a riddle, or you know, it's for teams to do as an exercise. It's an exercise for them to come to decisions on certain things. They've got to make assumptions and come to some kind of solution. And we compare that solution to what the real solution should be, and we see how good they are, you know, how close they were and how effective they were in our terms. You know, so what I did was I had it was a group of about 20 or so people in the room, and they all did this, not this particular instrument. We did one of the other instruments, but again, it gives us the same kind of information. And so I didn't tell them what the results were. I created teams to work on this exercise, and one team was all one type. And I think there were 2 teams that were all one type, different types, but all one. And then the other teams, another 2 teams I had, they were totally mixed types. So those last 2 teams were you know, more varied perspectives. And so, you know, while they were doing this exercise, I walk around a room. Usually I'd listen to what they're talking about. And the one of the groups that was all the same type, they in fact, they were the driving type. You know, they all wanted to take charge, you know, of the team. They wouldn't make any assumptions about what they needed to do. And to solve the problem, you've got to make a few assumptions. They wanted the data. They wanted the very analytical type of approach to the problem. And I give them 30 minutes to do this. They never finished. In 30 minutes, they didn't get to an answer. They were all one type. The other 2 teams, in fact, the mixed teams, both were very, very fast. In fact, one of those teams was the fastest. They finished this problem in about 12 minutes, which is the fastest that anybody had ever done this in all the, you know, tens of or 100 times that I had done this exercise, but they were all totally different types, and they brought that to the team, and that we saw the success that they had in that they were a mixed type, so we knew that they had varied perspectives, varied points of view, and one of the things about teams, you've all seen the books on tools for teams, brainstorming and fish bones and affinity diagrams and all these different kinds of tools. Well, the reason we have all those different tools is because we can't always guarantee that our team is going to be 100% mixed, all right? And so the tools force us as a team to look at problems and look at issues from different points of view. So it forces us, into sort of, all these quadrants on this chart as a team in order to be able to bring those different perspectives into our solutions. And so that's, that was a very important point, thing that I picked up in why we use tools in teams. It's actually to force the different perspectives on and to help us be more successful and more effective as a team in coming up with solutions. The driving style, orientation to this driving, the driver is as action. You can see the strengths here: strong will, determined, quick to act, confident, decisive, and all those kinds of strengths. The excesses, are, this is what the teammates might see, right? The way the teammates might describe it. Stubborn, hard-headed, aggressive, rebellious, hard to please, domineering. All those kinds of what shows to the outside. The needs that this person has are, needs for results and control, the prestige, power, authority, and directness. The person with this type fears losing control, looking bad. And one of the things that this person can do to grow is to listen better, to listen more on what they to their teammates and to everybody around them. But what this type brings to a team is it moves the team to action and to decisions. So you're not just floundering out there. This person is willing to take some risks and to focus on the big picture of what's going on. Okay. On the next, this is exactly diagonally across. It's the opposite of the driving person. Okay, if we look back at the chart, that's this in this quadrant versus this quadrant. So Amyville, it's an orientation to relationships and relationship building. These are the strengths: patience, calmness, dependability, good-natured, witty, adaptable, and so on. What the teammates see is somebody who resists change, who might seem like they're too sensitive. They might internalize issues, which would cause them to shut down, right? They might look like they're indifferent. They might look like they just don't care. The needs of this person, or the person with this type, I should say, is security, is status quo, no surprises, wants to be appreciated, and needs to control emotions. They fear conflict. They fear aggressive people and change. All right. What did we just say about the driving person, the driving type? It's the opposite of this. So they bring totally opposite ends of the spectrum on in this area. The growth for this person is to learn better and to initiate action, not just sit back and wait. They really do bring, the benefits they bring to a team are the sequential, they're sequential thinkers, process thinkers. They see the process steps and the process flow, and they can promote team harmony, which is always good. Now we look at the other two opposite corners. Expressive is the orientation to spontaneity. Somebody's strengths might be friendliness, gregarious, being warm, spontaneous, empathetic. The team sees somebody who's emotional, somebody who might be reactive and impulsive, somebody who overtalks, who might seem like they're very changeable and disorganized. And then the needs that this person, the person with this type, has is a need for approval, attention, recognition. They have to be free to talk, and they have to have somebody to talk to. They fear rejection. The growth action for this type is to check those negative behaviors. Just think about these things as as they might come out, and try to check them so that they bring the positive side of this type to the team. They bring the ability to share thoughts readily, right? We talk about open communication. bringing others into the conversation, not leaving anybody out, and being persuasive and optimistic about what's happening. And then the last type is analytical. It's orientation to thinking and data. The strengths of this type is precision, being diplomatic, likes the details, is a fact and data seeker, is idealistic, or may seem like they're idealistic. The team sees somebody who looks moody, might be, they might consider that person a perfectionist, somebody who might overanalyze, kind of slow down the decision making a little bit, somebody who might be pessimistic. This is what the team sees. Somebody who's nitpicky and delays those decisions. This type needs to be right, needs to have the precision, does not want to be wrong, right? That's one of the fears here, is failure or being wrong. They have to be accurate. They need high standards. They're not going to take low standards. Again, the growth action is to declare, is not be so waiting for more data, but declare, a point of a specific opinion or an idea. And again, the benefits that the person with this type brings to the team is they seek and thrive on data. You need data, right? We need data in making our decisions. They seek precision, and they have the critical thinking skills that they bring to the process. Any questions about this tool and the description of how important and why behavioral types are important to teams? Okay, so what do we do now? What do we do now? We've got a couple of tools, a couple of approaches that we can use to help making our teams better. We've got the 10 characteristics. We understand what the team should look like. We understand that multiple perspectives of the team makes the team stronger. We understand, that those varied perspectives helps us in seeing all sides of the problem, so that we can come up with better answers, better solutions to what we're doing. So we're always looking to improve, obviously not just the work that we're doing, but to improve the team as a unit, to improve the effectiveness of the team. That open communication, you've seen that many times during this presentation, in the 10 characteristics, and we talked about it. You've made some comments about that as well as causes of failure. Regular assessment is very useful. The way I described that 10 characteristics being used as an informal assessment of the team, there are others. Some simple ones I've used is, at any point in the team and during the meeting, if I feel like maybe there's low energy or something, I'll say, okay, how's everybody feeling? And I'll ask for neutral. I'll ask for, things are not going very well for us, or things are going great for us as a team. Just very simple, just to get the team talking. So if we see a thumbs down for any reason, we might focus and say, okay, what is it? Why did you give it a thumbs down in this, about how you feel about the team? What's causing that? Use all kinds of assessments. There's a more formal assessment that I use. The informal ones you're going to use more frequently, like the thumbs up, thumbs down. Very simple to do, very quick. You can do that almost at every meeting. The one with the 10 characteristics, you might not want to do that at every meeting. You might do it every month or something, or every 3 or 4 meetings or something like that, just to help the team grow and become better at being a team. And then the formal ones, depending on the life of the team, how long, when the team will expire, you can add, do the more formal assessment and have, maybe every 6 months or something like that, or 8 months, or whatever the situation of the team is. And when, if you're the facilitator or the leader, when you think that it would, it's a good time to do a more formal assessment. But understanding assessment, understanding where the team is, and then having the team talk about how they can improve based on the assessment results, whether it's an informal or formal, doesn't matter, but have the team talk about that among themselves. That alone helps to build that team, collaboration, and helps to grow the team's effectiveness and hopefully increase their success at what they do. But the team adaptability, you've got to be flexible. In all of our jobs nowadays, we really have to be flexible in what we're doing. I mentioned the word resiliency earlier, and there has to be effective leadership. So you've got to find ways to improve, even as a leader, if you're the leader or the facilitator, to improve your skills in leading the team. And then beyond the team, the leadership of an organization, or even the leader of the department, where the team resides, all of that leadership has a very important impact on the effectiveness of teams. You can really squash the ideas and not have anything come out of the team, which might confirm your own, opinions about teams. But that making the team more effective makes us all better. We're able as a leader to do more if we can have successful, effective teams within our organization, and taking us forward. I hope that brought some good information to you. Who has questions?
The first one is that we've had quite a few people use different assessments, the Myers-Briggs, the DISC, but Paul brought up a fun one. You can actually use animals. So like there's lion, action. Have you used that one?
I haven't used it, but it's very similar to the one that I showed you. I think there's another one that uses colors, instead of the 4 descriptive, it uses colors, but they do have the lions and, these have been around, particularly the one that I use has been around since World War II. And it was used initially to fit, people to jobs, to get a better match between the person and the job. And, and so it's the same idea. But we're using it as a team builder, a team effectiveness builder, instead. But all those others, like you said, the ones that you mentioned, Myers-Briggs, DISC, and everything else, they're very, there's a lot of them out there that you can use. There's one that I mentioned before, you probably didn't catch it, the Keirsey temperament sorter. It gives you, if you use Myers-Briggs, you might be an INTJ. That happens to be what I am, according to Myers-Briggs. But the Keirsey temperament sorter will also give you very similar. It can give you an INTJ, means something a little bit different, but it's very similar to, and it's much more easy. It's much quicker to use. You can go online to find the website, the Keirsey temperament sorter website, and I haven't seen it lately, but they used to have the sorter right online. You can just go and fill it in and see what type it tells you are. But those are all, the Keirsey is Keirsey, Keirsey temperament sorter. And it was very good. I used that quite a lot. Not recently, but in years past, I've used that. Any other comments or questions? Anything else that I missed in the chat?
Yes, we have Jared with a question. He
Okay.
says, is behavioral types used as a tool for a company as a whole and teamwork between departments? I may have said that wrong. Or within a department as well. For example, quality might consist of all analytical thinkers.
The answer to the question is yes. You could use this on a company basis, and I've been in companies where they have the person might have a name tag on the front of their desk, and right next to it might say INTJ, and they'll let everybody who walks into the room know what style they are when they walk in. I don't know that I would want, you want people who can use in the quality department to have analytical thinkers, but you've got to make sure that you're able to force the perspectives coming from different directions as well. So you might need to use more tools in that situation, but you can use it at any level. You can use it at the company level or at the team level, and anywhere in between. Does that answer your question, Jared?
He says, thanks, Phil. Makes sense.
Phil, you'd said that this started out around World War II. Was it a military or a civilian application, like business? For
That's
example?
a good question. I don't know that answer, actually. I bet it was the military.
Because project
but I
management
can't
has
say
its
that for
roots
sure.
in Manhattan Project, right? The military,
It
Army
very
Corps
well
of Engineers
could,
and
yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah, that would make sense, Garrett.
When is it a good time to do this? Yeah, is it, check it once a month, do it during a retreat, do it tomorrow?
Oh, you mean the assessment itself?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, like I said, the quick and dirty, the thumb up and down, you can do that at spur of the moment. If you feel like the energy's gone from the room and people are, the facial expressions are not the ones that you're looking for, you might do it right then and there and talk about the thumbs down, why thumbs down? You probably get the thumbs down. If not, you may want to put the thumbs down. And so if the rest of the team, if they're a new team, they may not be comfortable, expressing difference of opinion from everybody else in the room. So you might have to take, as a leader or a facilitator, you might have to take that initiative and say, why do you think my thumb is down? And then talk about that. But you could do that every meeting, and that won't take much time. Well, it depends. I guess that's not an accurate statement. It depends on what the problem is. How much time it's going to take to discuss it. Your agenda, part of your effective meetings is to have an agenda and follow it, right? So it might throw your agenda off a little bit. You may have to readjust the agenda with consent of the team in some way, whether put something into the parking lot or whatever. But if there's more than one thumbs down in the room, it's probably worth it. It's probably worth talking about what we can do better. On the more formal assessments, using the 10 characteristic, it's still informal, but it's a little bit more formal than thumbs up or down. I would do that if my team's meeting, let's say the one example I'm thinking of in my mind is a set of teams that was meeting once a month. And so we would do that, teamwork 10, every couple of months. And then we would do the more formal one, that takes much more time, take half an hour or so or more. I would do that, every maybe 4 months as a minimum or something like that. Unless I really had issues and the team was not improving, then I would do it more, I'd do it earlier. And it takes time. To make your team more effective does take practice. It takes practice, it takes the commitment. It just takes time to do. There are certain, even decision making, there are certain things that perhaps decisions by a team need to be, made by one person. And they may need to be, immediate, depending on the situation. You may not have time, to consult the team or to get the team's input. The more team input you get, trying to achieve consensus, 100% consensus where everybody supports the solution, that's going to take the longest, and so the situation is going to drive you to either, somewhere, either the immediate, quick decision to the 100% full support consensus decision, or anywhere in between. The situation will point you to where you should be, what level. Like I said before, maybe it's majority rule, but know that up front. Maybe it is consensus, know that up front. Know that at the end of 15 minutes, if it's an immediate 15 minutes, I'm the leader of the team, I'm going to make the decision. So let's talk about it right now and see what we can do, if we can't come to consensus. Thank you very much for your attention tonight.